Alafia, this is Yaya Fini again with my Teaching Tuesday. Teaching Tuesday is my opportunity to share with you some of the things that I do in my life, and so that in case you are interested in doing it in your life. So it's all good. Teaching Tuesdays is yayafini.com's ways of just always connecting and teaching, empowering the people to empower themselves and use the empowerment to change the world. That's my motto I live by and share with you always. So today on our Teaching Tuesdays, I was asked more than once, is it possible for someone to do a naming ceremony that is not a priest? My answer is always, of course, because a naming ceremony has everything to do with the spirit, the mind, and the body of the child, but still is a community event uh, of sharing the child's name and their purpose for being born and how they are going to be able to enhance the family. So if it's a priest, that's fine. If it's not a priest, it's also fine because, as I said, it does not require any heavy ceremony or initiation into doing it, where you're taking in the responsibility of doing something for someone and you being held responsible for completing the thing, the task which the spirits have asked for. So an elder in the community would be appropriate, would be the best person to do that for a newborn baby. Also for an adult that wants to change your name. But however, getting to that point of actually the ceremony, there is of course what we suggest to recommend, and it's a requirement for me, is to of course have a consultation, have a reading, be it with Merin de Logun, be it with Opuele, be it with Ifa, uh, and with Ikin. And so you would get a consultation. Why? Number one, because you want to know exactly what path, what is the incarnation objective of the baby or the child or the adult. And I have two systems that I do, and I'm going to share with you briefly. The one for the new baby is a tradition steeped in Yoruba heritage, which is for the girls is 7 days, for the boys is 9 days after is their naming ceremony. 3 days after their birth, you will do a consultation to know why they came on earth, what gifts they bring, what responsibilities the community has to hold towards the child and the child vice versa. Then the name is chosen by oracle as to what name the child, the spirit that is coming back, will recognize as its Odu, as its path. And so when the naming ceremony is done, that is shared with the community because everyone in the community there that's present will be responsible and expected to do everything that they can do to help raise this child. And so for that reason, the gifts and talents and the reading is done for, is explained publicly to the community. Now, the next other way that I do a naming ceremony, which I've done successfully for many years, people come to me, adults, and want a traditional African name. When I first started the process of giving roots reading or Edile reading or just naming readings, I started by just saying what the Odu would say that the person's gift is. And I realized that if you don't speak the language and you don't have enough time to understand the power of your name, then it becomes a title. So you would be called Mother Comes Back with Honor. And you don't really understand what is the role of a mother and what it is honor, because you could be in the midst of a whole lot of wahala while you're coming for this name. And so what I've learned over the years, and like I said, this is just my system. I'm not saying that it's the only way. I believe that when you are given a reading as to what it is that you want, that you're seeking a name, when that comes up for you, I give the name in English, meaning the explanation of what the name is. And I have a whole process that for 6 months, you use that process, you use that name in English as it makes sense to you, as you internalize it. And then also we go even further to ask you to do something in the community that is going to enhance the meaning of that word. So you make a connection not to a title, but actually the responsibility that goes with that name. And then we have a naming ceremony 6 months to a year, or after the project has been completed in the community. And the community doesn't mean any particular community, just in your world. If you're a baker, or you're a banker, or you are a electrician, the same thing you would be using, and you would see it manifesting. Your name would be manifesting. We also require or expect you every morning to pray and give honor to the Creator for you to get to that point in your life that you're even wanting to have a traditional African based name, a spiritual claimed name. And so then at the naming ceremony will be the same process that we're going to share with you today. And so those are the two ways. If you're an adult and you want a name change, that's of course to get a reading, get a consultation to know spiritually the name that your spirit chose. The priest is not choosing your name. Your spirit chose it by the reflection that it comes up in the reading. And so today, these are the things, this is what I use. It's a cute little set that was given to me by a nice Cuban young lady. And I use it wherever I go, and I've been using it for years. And so what we do is the first thing that you're going to do is, of course, pour your libation. And in pouring your libation, what you're doing is actually calling the spirits and the ancestors of the families that are present and have manifested through that child. And you're going to put this on the floor, and you're going to pour your water. And the elder or the priest that's doing it, the elder will be calling the names of all of the deceased relatives of both sides of the family. And you would be making affirmations and sharing. Everyone that's present, they would be calling their ancestors as well to bear witness to this event. Because we believe that you choose your destiny. So when you come back on earth, you find the people who are going to support your destiny. And so that's why we're doing it. We're pouring the libation. Once we've poured the libation and we call on the name of the ancestors and let them know exactly what we're doing, then we take the baby. If it's a young child, then the baby, traditionally the baby would not have come out before 7 days. But sometimes people end up taking the baby to the mall. I've seen that. I'm like, oh. But anyway, everybody has to do what makes sense to them, because sometimes it's beyond your own control. And sometimes they have to go back to the hospital to check up on things or get the baby, whatever. But anyway, so the first thing that we would do is when the baby comes outside, you take some of the water and put it on the roof. This is a new age naming. And you put it on the roof, and when the baby comes out, it's the first water that comes off the baby, and it falls on their forehead, and everybody welcomes the baby outside to the new world. The first thing that you would do is welcome spirit to our universe, our world. May you find the things that you came for, and may you always help us to find the things that we're able to help you with. The first thing that you're going to put in the child's mouth is, of course, water. Water is sacred. Water is the thing that feeds every cell in our body, as well as is the place where the child had lived for 9 months, as well as the largest expression of the Creator on earth is water. And so we will take some water, dip it, and put it in the baby's mouth. What I do is I use a tongue depressor stick, and we use that like a popsicle stick, and because I don't put my fingers in the baby's mouth for whatever reason. People are kind of germophobic in that sometimes you have to be germophobic in this new world. And so I take the little popsicle stick, and we put the water, and you tell the baby, may you always find the balance, may you always find water as your friend, and may you always have your blood healthy. The next thing that we put the baby, we put the liquor, and we said, may you always have medicine when you're ill. And may every time that, just like water never spoils, may nothing that you stretch your hand to spoil. And may people always toast in your name. The next thing that we would do is we would take pepper. Next thing would be palm oil. And we would say, palm oil, may your life, and we put this in the baby's mouth as well, and the adults if we're doing an adult naming ceremony. And we're putting palm oil so that your life will be smooth and your life will be easy. And so and cool. And then we put salt and say, in life, there's no soup that is not sweet and delicious until we put salt. May you be an expression of deliciousness. May you always have those things in your life that give you source and give you feeding. Then we, of course, then second to the last thing, we take some cayenne pepper, stick it on there. I always moisten it so that we have just a little teeny piece. And then we take it and tell the baby, in life, there are things that are going to sting and they're going to hurt. And that too is part of your development. And we put that, and then the last thing that we do is we take some honey and we put, but also know that whenever there are things that are unpleasant or that hurt, there's always sweetness to follow it. And so that's how we would do it. And then at that point, we'll tell the mother and the father and the community now to start embracing the baby, blessing the baby, and passing the baby from one adult to the other. As we do in the Oyo-centric or Yotuji-centric understanding, we would always, if it's a boy, we pass the baby on to the men first, and then if it's a girl, we'll pass it to the women first, because that's who will be raising them. At the end, then the mother and the father would hold the baby, and we would be praying throughout the time on the baby and for the family, as well as if we're doing it with an adult. So that's why we say it does not have to be a priest, an elder, and someone in the community or someone in the family that represents the eldership or the leadership or the spokesperson for the clan. So thank you again for my Teaching Tuesday, and may you find your name that is affixed to you and that you chose for yourself. Ashe.